Hey guys, it's Elise. Mary's not here today, but I do have an amazing, wonderful guest with me that I've been talking about for a while. This is Sarah Price.
Hey.
She's coming to visit and talk about her story. So I'm super excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about Napro technology.
Yay! So Sarah and I met actually through my husband. And how did y'all start talking about lady business?
I mean, really, I was telling him about the upcoming surgery I was having, and I was nervous because I never had a surgery before in my life, and he was telling me that you were having the same surgery, so it's this crazy, like, God-sent connection, and we kind of just knew that we had to meet. Me and you, because I didn't know you at the time. I only knew Will.
And this was on a retreat, right?
Yeah,
so,
this was on a
and he was your
retreat. He was my small group leader. So yeah, just my leader.
That's
and
so
I
bizarre.
Talking about some lady talk.
That's a grown man talking to you about, but that's what's so cool. I just have to make a plug for Napro in that way, is that your spouse is really involved, and so for all the women out there who are like, yeah, my husband would never talk about that stuff, Napro is very much about like a partnership with your husband. It's really cool because they're so a part of it. So like it's really amazing for him. Like I remember him coming back from this retreat and being like, guess what? I talked to this girl about surgery and about Napro, and I was like, wait, what? You know, like it's just so cool that he was able to be educated enough to be like, hey, I know something, like there's something I need to tell you about, you know? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a student right now at the University of New Orleans. I'm an accounting major, but I just study a lot. I go to work a lot. Don't really have a life much.
Where do you work?
I work at Antilar Loft. I'm a manager over there.
And you're how old?
I am 20 years old.
Such a baby and already so accomplished. A manager at the Loft. I mean, goodness. So, and you're dating somebody. Can we talk about that?
Dating an amazing guy named John.
And what does he do?
He is a musician, plays guitar. Super
a musician,
cute.
so like every girl's like dream guy.
Oh yeah.
He actually is a legit musician, like travels and everything.
Travels around the country.
Yeah, pretty amazing. I have a couple questions to ask her, and sometimes I forget where we're going. So, okay, so what were your symptoms like, or can you just kind of tell us about like what exactly, like when did you start your period, like kind of tell us your story.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably started my period when I was in junior high, and it wasn't until maybe sophomore year of high school I started noticing some stabbing like pains in my lower abdomen. And I would always, complain to my parents like, hey, I'm getting these like weird, like, it almost feels like someone's kind of poking at me with a needle. And I would tell them that, and it's like, oh, just take some ibuprofen, it's not a big deal. Well, over time, it just started getting more consistent, more pains, and then I started noticing when I would get my period, it would just be this excruciating, like, need to scream into, like, put my face in a pillow and scream kind of pain. And that went on for about a year until finally I had a cyst rupture in my ovary that I finally made it to the hospital and figured out that, hey, something's not right. This isn't just some wacky period pain. It's actually a problem that needs to be examined. They basically said, you need to start going to see a gynecologist, which I had never been to before. So I just went to...
That's the dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Every girl's like... what do you expect?
Your first gynecologist appointment. Yeah, so I just went to my standard, someone who's been in the family for a while, just a really standard gynecologist, and he was like, yeah, you'll be fine, we'll keep an eye on it. So that's what we did. Every few weeks I went and got an ultrasound and kept an eye on it, but that was about it.
How old were you when the cyst ruptured?
I was 16, I believe.
16.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was a while that this was going on for in high school. Okay. So from that point, with your doctor, he said he's just going to keep an eye on it. What kind of was the treatment plan? Like, how did it look until you got to the next kind of phase?
I mean, from then on, every few weeks I would do an ultrasound just to make sure there weren't any persisting cysts, and there wasn't. but I kept on telling him at the same time, well, you know, I'm also having this period pain that is just absolutely dreadful. And he immediately put me on a birth control plan that would, he said it would help take away the pain and just help regulate some stuff. Eventually, when I got on that first set of birth control, I got terrible side effects, you know, depression, anxiety, everything just it was really awful. I couldn't take it, so we tried switching birth control plans. I think I ended up being on 5 different kinds of birth controls.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just, you know, the depression and the anxiety were the biggest side effects, but at the same time, I wasn't having that much of relief either.
So it wasn't even actually helping
right,
the symptoms.
Pain, I mean, it was helping a little bit, but I was still in pain, and then plus I had all these other side effects stacked on top of it. So
Which
really,
is the worst thing to happen in high school.
Yeah. So
like we already
here I
have
am,
those issues.
This emotional, depressed teenage girl in high school, like, you know, not knowing what's even going on.
There's already enough of that by just by high school being high school, and then you're like having all these side effects. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So okay, so what kind of, okay, so did you keep taking birth control? Like from there, kind of what happened?
Well, I mean, after about the 5th trial, the 5th pill, I was like, you know, enough's enough. I can't take the side effects anymore. I was, you know, extremely depressed at that point, and so I finally got and convinced my doctor, you know, I don't want to take this anymore. We need to try a different route. And that's when he suggested, well, you know, if your pain's not completely going away, you should think about getting a surgery just to see if you have possibly PCOS or endometriosis. So I was like, you know, that's fine. If that gives me some answers, I'll do that.
I have to commend that gynecologist though, because most
Exactly.
gynecologists won't even go that far. We actually did an interview recently, which is going to air after yours, but she was talking about how she told her gynecologist, and he was like, that's all normal. So like I have to commend, and we talk about that all the time. Like these gynecologists are really good doctors, and they generally do care about their patients, but don't necessarily have the tools that Napro has.
Exactly.
So for him to actually do that is, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So this was the surgery that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And
so that was my first surgery.
It was an exploratory surgery. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
The surgery was really just to see what was going on. I think I had just turned 18 at that point. So that was 2 years of trying different kinds of birth controls, and it didn't work. So I'm 18 and I had this surgery, and he ended up finding endometriosis all around my ovaries, my uterus. My fallopian tubes were actually almost completely clogged up to the point where nothing was going through them.
So it was like everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. So that would explain the excruciating pain,
right?
You know,
but everybody thinks it's normal,
and it's not.
It's like just pop every month. Like just get your Midol, get your ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Like this is how we do. You know,
I was shocked to find that out. I had no idea that there were even I had no idea there was disorders to deal with the reproductive system. So it was interesting. And when he found that in the surgery, he did go in and treat it with a laser that burns it. And that was supposed to provide the most relief, but about a month after that surgery, I was back exactly where I was. The same kind of excruciating pain, you know, nothing really felt better.
Did you try any more birth control or anything, any other treatments? Actually,
after that, he suggested that I get on a injection called Lupron. And what that basically does is it dries up all your estrogen. It actually puts you in a medical menopause, which doesn't sound fun at all.
Right.
So I tried that out for a month, and the same side effects. I was having heat flashes, you know, like someone who's in menopause has. Just all these crazy side effects. I was like, I cannot take that. So I got off of that real quick, and basically after that, it was still back to square one. I was in pain. I had tried all these different kinds of pills and injections and even had the surgery, and I was nowhere. So it was pretty disappointing.
Which is so frustrating.
Yeah.
Obviously you heard about Napro through William and I.
Yeah.
But like, can you talk about, okay, so when you heard about Napro, like, just talk about your journey with Napro. Like when did you decide to kind of, go that route? And, because we had talked about the Lupron, and I was in Omaha for actually my wedge resection, because this was a couple years ago. This was in 2014, right? Yeah. So I was actually in Omaha with Dr. Hilders, and so at my consultation, you had told me, or your mother and I had a conversation on the phone, and she has a fabulous family, by the way. Oh my gosh, so amazing. Her parents are amazing. I could spend hours at their house. So I had talked to her mother on the phone, just kind of about stuff, and then I had actually talked about her in my Napro appointment with Dr. Hilders, because I was like, I had heard about Lupron, and so I said, what is Lupron? And they were like, tell her not to go on it. Like, they were like, it puts you in a medical menopause and all these things, and they're trying to figure out what the best thing to do is. And so I was trying to just help with options, but she had to go her route and figure it out, because there's just so many people coming at you and sometimes telling you different things. And so kind of talk about that. Okay, so after you went on the Lupron, what at that point, when were you like, okay, I need to go somewhere different, like this plan of action is not working, or, what were your thoughts?
Well, I mean, honestly, you had started to talk to me about Napro technology before, I think, the surgery, and my first reaction to that was, oh, that's just some crazy, crazy Catholic natural family planning, kind of thing. I had no kind of desire to take that direction. I really thought that the hard pills and treatments were going to be it for me. But once I got on that Lupron, I was supposed to do a 6-month treatment, and after the first injection that lasted a month, I couldn't take the side effects anymore. I had just started college, and you can imagine going to classes and then getting heat flashes, and it's just not livable. So I finally decided, I can't do that. And like I said, after I got off of Lupron, I was back to the same place where I started, and my doctor really didn't have any other options for me at that point. We had tried so many things. So that's, I think, when I really finally decided, okay, well, let's go to the Napro doctor and see what they have to say. I wasn't expecting anything. I wasn't expecting to feel better. But it ended up being a pleasant surprise that it did work. So you started out with, because we didn't really have anybody yet here. Right. So you went to Lafayette or to Dr. Yeah, I did.
Was it Cudahy or?
Dr. Cudahy in Lafayette. And really,
that was your first experience with Napro. So what was that like?
I saw him for such a short period of time, because then we got Dr. Hemphill right after that. So I saw him for a few checkups and talked to me about my symptoms and everything, and then finally I got transferred over to Dr. Hemphill, and that's when I started really charting with my practitioner.
Yeah, Creighton practitioner. Who's your Creighton practitioner?
Allison.
Okay.
Yeah, she's amazing. So we started the charting process, and it was crazy, because after just about 3 months, or not even, maybe even 2 months of charting, she was able to tell already that I had low progesterone, simply because of my chart, and her seeing okay, well you ovulated on this day, and then you got your period this many days after that. Okay, that means this, and that could be a sign of this. And she was able to tell me all these things. I have low progesterone, my estrogen is too high. And eventually we got these labs done where they took blood for a series of days, and she was exactly right. My estrogen was way too high in comparison to my progesterone. So it was just crazy how she knew that without any testing through a simple chart. Right. It was crazy.
So it's funny, because it's at first you were like, this is this crazy voodoo whatever thing, not scientific, not medical, not factual at all. And then here you're finding it's almost more accurate and
crazy. So with the chart, I was able to see exactly when I was ovulating, and count the days after that. So when I got my period, and count the days before, and it would tell me this sign and that sign, and I was able to really learn a lot more about my body than I would have ever learned staying with a standard gynecologist.
Now, I just realized that my third surgery, your second surgery, were the ones that were by each other.
Right.
So, what got you to that point? Like, who did you see? Because the Gianna Center on the North Shore was really, really new at this point. So, like, they weren't even taking all insurances. So, I remember talking to you and you being like, I'm literally waiting for that call to, like, as soon as my insurance goes through. So, but how did you even get to that point?
Well, at that point, you know, like I said, I was in so much pain. We did all that blood work, and finally I got in with Dr. Hemphill, and at that point I was pretty set to get the surgery with Dr. Hemphill because
she suggested that, like, by looking at your charts, or?
Yeah, through a series of charting and just her hearing kind of my story, you know, how I had no relief from the other surgery, and she kind of explained to me that just burning the endometriosis really doesn't get rid of it. There was also some scarring and endometriosis in places where a simple laser could not reach, where the Napro technology surgery, she can reach using the robotic laparoscopy. She can reach in all those small places and literally scrape out and cut out the endometriosis rather than just burning it and hoping that it doesn't come back.
And then she has all the scar prevention.
Right,
you know,
right.
Which most surgeons, I don't know even what surgeons do that scar prevention. That's a pretty Napro thing, is from what I know. Okay, so she said surgery, you said yes, you waited on that insurance to go through, it finally went through, you scheduled the surgery. So how did surgery go? And what was your experience, and like compared to the other one, but also just what was your experience in general?
Yeah, I mean, this surgery was completely like seamless, it felt like. When I got to the hospital, it was actually really amazing. She came in with my nurse practitioner, Allison, and they prayed with me before we went into surgery, which I thought was really amazing. You know, so cool. Here I am with my family and my boyfriend, and I'm sitting in the hospital bed, and I have my doctor who's about to operate on me and my nurse practitioner who's actually going to be helping out with the operation. We're all sitting around holding hands and praying together before the operation.
That's so cool.
Which is just a crazy experience. I guess I went to sleep right after that.
Right, they gave you the good juice.
Yeah. Rolling down the hallway, fell asleep, and when I woke up, I mean, she said that she came in my room, said that everything went really well. She was able to get to all the places where my other doctor wasn't able to get to before. She thinks she was able to cut out everything, so it was really exciting. I mean, honestly, I was still skeptical. I was nervous for that first cycle to go around because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know whether to expect more pain or is it really solved.
Right. They tell you it could potentially be a little worse first, you know, before it gets better, because it's almost like your body, obviously your body's been cut into, and you know, so you need time to heal. So what happened after surgery? Like,
to be honest, I didn't have any pain like through my first cycle. Like, you know, how some people were saying that it would get worse before it got better. I had absolutely no pain. And I mean, it was crazy because beforehand, I used to wake up in the middle of the night in so much pain, and it would be like, okay, my period's coming. Well, this time around, I know it's a little vivid, but I got my period, and I was like, when did that happen? You know, I had no pain to go off of. Right. You know, like
you're so used to
I was not expecting it. I was like, what just happened? Like, how am I even on my period right now? Because I'm in no pain. And it's like, can you imagine, like, being in you went from crying and screaming in your pillow to absolutely no pain, and it was just amazing. Like, I can go to work, I can go to school without having to worry about it, and for me that has been the biggest motivation and the biggest relief is my school and my work, and it's just the biggest blessing to be able to be kind of ripped of those, you know, chains that kept me from going to school and work because I was in so much pain beforehand. I can honestly say that I haven't had a day since that surgery that I've been in pain to where it kept me from going to school or work.
That's amazing.
A huge
Well, and your recovery time was like, I mean, I was like giving her the horror stories of, you know, but your recovery time was really short.
Fast.
And, you know, I think you were how old when you had that surgery, the second one?
I was 19.
19.
I believe.
And I truly believe that, like, your age, like, played a factor in it.
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, we're, like, 10 years apart. And so your recovery time, like, getting this done younger was probably so much better because of the fact that you could recover quickly. And,
oh, my gosh,
oh, my gosh, it was insane.
It was, I mean, they say the recovery time is, like, 2 weeks or more. I was up and out of less than a week.
Yeah, like, that was not for Mary and I at all, like, at all. So, I mean, it's just, it was amazing, like, to watch. And I was so excited for you and so excited for your story.
So relieving, yeah.
Like, so, you know, like, most of the people that we talk to are older, and their motivation for Napro is really, honestly, to get a baby. Like, it's really the people who are struggling with infertility. So, can you kind of talk to us about, like, being so young and, like, having this all hit you and having to do charting and all these other things? Like, one, how was that for you? And two, like, what was your motivation behind it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest motivation, you know, because I was in high school, so the biggest motivation was, you know, I want to go to college, I want to get my degree, I want to be able to work and do something that I love. And this honestly was holding me back so much from it because I was in so much pain all the time. I live at home, I commute to school because I was so scared of just getting that pain and being away from family and being away from that comfort. So I think for, you know, young girls who are dealing with any kind of pain, especially if it's to the point where you're having to stay home from work or school, that should not be normal, and it can be fixed. A lot of people just think that pain with your period or, you know, throughout the month is normal, and it's not. There are so many ways to get yourself feeling better, and it really is worth it, you know.
Which is so amazing because it's like, I say this over and over, it's like the world tells us that this part of our body is not connected to the rest, but it, like, affects your health in such a huge way. And, like, it makes you unable to function as a person, you know, Liz, what you're telling, like, and I witnessed your pain, like, that I saw you, like, barely able to stand, just in so much incredible pain, like, it broke my heart, and, like, and to, like, come out of that and have no pain, like, I honestly didn't even, I was like, no way, no pain, like, that's crazy.
I did not believe it either. I never thought that something like that would happen to me, you know.
Well, and that, so we kind of talked about, like, our motivation for doing TBT, and honestly, you were very much my motivation because, but it's true. I mean, like, I love you so much. You already know that, but like, the fact that, like, you were like Mary's mirror, you know, like, you know, y'all are like 10 years apart, and like the fact that Dr. Hildress, and we've said this, Dr. Hildress told her if she had been diagnosed 10 years earlier, and here you were, literally almost like 10 years earlier, and like, she was intelligent enough, like, I'm just so proud of her in so many ways, that she's just this young woman that took hold of her health and, like, did everything that she needed. It's not an easy process, and she did everything that she needed to do, and look at the results. Like, all that hard work was, like,
finally,
oh my gosh.
And I mean, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. I mean, this woman is the person who introduced me to all this, and I can't even believe how far I've come. So, and this is not just for people who have reproductive disorders or uterine disorders. It's for anyone who has ever struggled with any kind of pain on their period, or even emotional, like PMS. You know, when I had so much pain, I was depressed and had bad anxiety because of it. And you know what many people call PMS, that can be treated too with Napro technology, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, it's a total body. It really is. It's total body, and our hormone levels and everything that's going on, you know, in these diseases like PCOS and endometriosis, like, they affect us, our entire person. And if we don't get them treated, it's just the same as not getting cancer treated. I mean, it really is. I mean, that drastic is like, and it leads to cancer, you know, it leads to all these other things. So if untreated, like, it has to be treated. You know, we have to start looking at all of this in a different way and start looking at it as this is what we should be doing for our health. You know, like, can you imagine if from a young age, like when you started your period, you were like, here's a chart and this is what you do. This is how you do. And then you could have potentially avoided all this at a very young age from helping with hormone levels.
Already known.
And so, and that's what Will and I say. We're like, if we have girls, from the time like they get their period, like you get your period, you get your chart, and you learn all this stuff. Like, can you imagine like what that would have been like as a young girl to like potentially avoid all
catch
this,
it all early. Amazing.
Heck yeah. I was like, I will do that for my girls for sure. So it's like once you get your period, the responsibility of that like comes with the responsibility of learning all this and understanding it. So, but all I gotta say is thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. Like, you're just such a champion to me that at such a young age, really, it's just such a testament to how powerful this is and how important it is at a young age to start this and to figure these things out so that you don't have to suffer for the rest of your life. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And so much fun.
And they're gonna love you. Oh my gosh. I know you're gonna love her already. So thank you guys so much. Please, as we always say, subscribe on YouTube. Please share this as much as possible. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, but really we need those subscribers on YouTube so people start getting this information out there. And just share it with everyone. Her story is so powerful, especially if you have a younger daughter. It's just such a powerful story, and we want it to go everywhere. So y'all have a wonderful day, and thank you so much. Bye.